Well, we're live now.
Live now.
We're live now. That's it. That's
Live
it.
now.
Fucking started. Great.
Hi, welcome to the show.
No.
I'm just kidding. All right, we'll be right back. How did I do this before?
Listen, dog. I don't know.
I see what happened. Bye. Welcome to the show, everyone. I'm John Warren here with my forever co-host, Niki Grayson. This is the VGB's podcast, episode 10. I thought about starting this show by talking about the mortgage lender, specifically by name.
That sounds great.
Then decided not to because we're still
working.
We're still working on it. But I've had a bad day.
I think we should just buy the house, John.
Just buy it. Just say, just
buy the
move
house.
forward.
Just buy the house.
Yeah.
How hard could it be?
How hard could it be?
Do you like this?
Oh, I could definitely tell you how hard it could be. It could be
it's
as
really
hard
hard.
as. Is it? Now I'm curious. Is that coming through your good mic?
No, almost definitely not, John.
No, maybe. I think it is.
Horse.
Yeah. It's coming through that mic.
I've broken this.
My Hero Zero says no. Let's fucking dish. I can't
You
yet.
can't for legal purposes, John.
For legal reasons, I probably really can't.
After though, when John
After
gets
that?
the house.
When they've sold the loan to someone else,
No.
it's over.
No.
What?
When you get the house,
Oh, then I can just do it.
then you can do it.
There's usually only like 10 days before they sell the loan to someone else.
When
Isn't that
you
weird?
get the
Isn't that
house,
weird? It's so strange to me that
it's like it's
you get-
maybe fake.
it's fake. It's so funny. You move into a house and you get like an email from someone you've never heard of. Like 10 days later, that's like, "Hi, we have your mortgage." And I'm like, "Wait, do I not get a say in this
No,
at all?"
sorry, someone else bought it.
Sorry, someone else bought the
We
loan.
sold it.
It's insane. So,
That's tough, dude.
Yeah, it's not been great.
Have you considered just getting 2 big tents?
I will tell you about the funniest part of this conversation.
Okay.
So I can at least say this. This entire process has been predicated. I'm raising the veil a little bit on my job situation. So Glider is going to start paying us soon.
Huge.
But like at every point in this step, the loan people have been like, if you've at least got just people in your office that are like, yes, here's a letter saying you're going to get paid, that's fine. We can get our underwriter to do that. Tomorrow is the deadline for our people to basically say, yes, we're going to finance this home. This morning, we got a call from him that was like, do you have like a cosigner that you could do this with? And I'm like, dog, I'm not going to call anybody I know
Yes.
today and
Today.
say by tomorrow
I need you to co-sign on
co-sign
the
a
purchase of a
mortgage.
house. That's insane.
Do
they know
one
how
of
it
the
works?
craziest conversations I
What
think
did
I've
they
ever
say?
had. What do you mean? What did they say?
Like
I
when
said
you
that was
said
crazy,
that's crazy.
they were like, "Yeah, we're sorry that we thought this would be an easier process."
Get good at your job.
My Hero Zero asking 2 good questions, and I'm just going to pop this on the screen. I'm not even going to read the question for folks in the audio portion. I'm sorry. Yes, I did. Okay, and then again for My Hero Zero. Yes, he did. So for all of our audio listeners at home, I'm sorry, but if you go to vgbs.com/join, you can join our Discord, and in one of those private channels, I'll tell you the story.
Annoying, dude.
Yeah, the best part, and like Anne is so mad. Like she's
yeah.
madder than I am. Anne was the one who was like talking to our lending person 2 months ago before we went to go look for houses, and said, "Okay, no, but really, we can go look for houses." And this guy was like, "Yo, yeah, you're totally good to go look at houses. Absolutely. Here's your letter that says you're good to look at this house." He did this for 5 different houses. It's crazy what has happened today. So
I think maybe. Well, are you the first person to ever buy a house? Because I'm
I'm not
thinking
the
about
first.
it. Oh, you're not?
I'm not the first. I might be the second or third.
Oh, okay. Well, then it's okay, isn't it? There's
still new,
there's no
you know?
precedent. It's still new. It's a system that no one's ever done before.
He was like, you could put a lien on your house. I'm like, no. You can call someone that you know and say within 24 hours you've got to co-sign a loan
on a house.
on a house. And I said no. And I was like, what are the other things you can do? And it's basically like a lot of documents about like our business and stuff. Which, by the way, 2 months ago when we were doing all of this, I said out loud to him, what do you need from the business to show that it is a real business and it's legitimate and all that stuff?
Yes,
he
that
goes,
exists.
nothing. We're good.
Awesome.
We're good.
Awesome.
So, fortunately, everyone in my life is being really cool right now,
Yeah, that's
except
great.
for that guy.
Yeah, for sure. Fuck 'em.
Like my co-founders at the company are like, we totally understand. We'll provide whatever we need to. We could get that for you today. Great. I'm like,
Great.
that's awesome. Everyone's being really understanding and nice.
Except.
But I've been pretty mad for
That's fair.
for about 2.5 hours.
Yeah. Listen.
I knew it was bad. I knew it was bad because he texted at 9 this morning and vaguely asked for a phone call.
Oh, nah. Sorry.
Just vaguely, just kind of like.
When do you think he found out? 4 yesterday?
He found out probably yesterday afternoon because he probably did not talk to his underwriter until yesterday afternoon.
Yeah, okay. So
that underwriter had
5
not
PM.
seen a fucking hair on our head before yesterday. He had not seen anything. And I think this guy, well, I've talked about this way more than I should have, but this guy, if I've not named names, okay,
No.
and that's important.
This is a hype. You're writing a screenplay.
I'm writing a
and these
screenplay.
are all. This is just stuff that you're talking about.
But
This is a writer's room.
I can't stress this enough. He has put us in a situation where we're the ones that have to look irresponsible and insane.
Yes.
Which is the thing that makes me crazier than anything.
that sucks. Yes.
Because I'm like, at no point were we hiding any of this information,
No,
or
for
keeping
sure.
it from them, or
Yeah.
it does not rhyme
You
with Bell's
asked.
Margot.
multiple times.
Yeah, we've asked multiple times, multiple occasions, what can we do? And so here we are. So next week, folks, you might get a really Joker-fied version of me on all of our programming.
Only one way to find out.
One
That's
way to
a
find
good
out.
tease.
It's a good tease, folks. What's going on with you?
Nothing, dude.
Nothing?
I had a crazy phone call before this.
Yeah.
I can't talk about it all.
Okay. Cool.
And so I'm in a mood also.
Okay. All right.
And then I think, what else? Follower goal met. 160 followers. Thank you to everyone following on twitch.tv/.
Wow, thank you so much.
No, nothing. I had a friend here for a week.
Uh-huh.
And now I'm tired
That's
because I had a person
you had
here
a
for
person
a week.
here. That's a lot.
So I'm trying to die about it. Like not like a real death,
Not
but
like a real, but like
and not like a small death, like an orgasm. Like, please be serious.
yeah. Don't
on
be
this
gross.
program.
Don't be gross.
Like, I'm just trying to get some rest.
Mm-hmm.
I went to this. Oh, John, you would fucking love this place. This Filipino rotisserie place in Chinatown yesterday called La Cita. Gorgeous inside.
Yeah.
I had
Love that.
pork belly lechon and
Ooh.
half chicken and chicken fat rice. And
Wow.
then I had an ube lager. And then we
Wow.
had these peach cobbler fritters. They're basically just like peach cobbler donuts with condensed milk ice cream and cut up and candied peaches. Fucking delicious, dude. It went crazy. Just on a freaking Wednesday, you know?
That's crazy.
Just living life.
That sounds
hanging
really
out in the
good.
sunshine. And then there was a DJ named Terrell Brook that my friend and I really like. And he DJs across the city. He like hosts a handful of parties, and he like had his own little custom menu because every Wednesday, the last Wednesday of every month at this place, they do a little collaboration with the DJ, and then they have a little custom menu in addition to their super freaking nice, delightful way to spend a Wednesday.
Wednesday. That's a good Wednesday.
And then I played some video game.
What'd you play?
Plural. Well, I played a video game called Thank Goodness You're Here.
Ooh, wow. That's a great segue.
Yes. Which
you like
is... I'm not finished, so I think it's like 3 or 4 hours long.
It's about 3 hours.
So I'm probably halfway done. To a 2-sitting joint. It feels like I like it. It feels like a cartoon that you are playing.
Yes.
Less than like Cuphead, which is like a video game that happens to look like a cartoon.
Correct.
This is a cartoon that you are interacting with.
That is a perfectly legitimate and correct distinction. Yes.
Yeah. In the best way, it feels like the animated edutainment games that I played when I was a kid, of the humongous entertainment variety.
Point and click kind of adventure games with very like you're solving fun little problems for people, except it's through this lens of like Yorkshire weird sicko humor. Yes.
And it's like I love this game because it is so, they didn't try to make any of it funny for anyone but themselves.
Correct.
And I really, really, really appreciate that.
Yes.
Because there's stuff that doesn't hit, but I am able to acknowledge that it is funny. And it also, again, is like so not invested in making sure that the jokes land, that it makes the jokes that do land harder.
Yes.
And also there is such a clear and distinct voice in this game, and the way that the characters interact with each other and the interactions that the world has with itself, it feels so cohesive because it's not trying to be anything other than the thing that it is trying to be. I feel the same way about Tiny Terry's Turbo Town.
Yeah.
Where it's like, the rest of the world does not exist, right? Like there is some in some games you get a hint that there is an outside world, and it's like, no, the entirety of existence is contained within this video game, and this is what you get. And there's no influence from anywhere else, and I do really like that kind of stuff. You've finished it, I assume.
I finished it. I wrote a review.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite games of the year. I think I'm going to read a very small snippet right here. Yeah. Wearing its obvious and not so obvious influences on its sleeve, thank goodness you're here, is densely packed with moments that made me grin and moments that made me belly laugh, which is actually very, very, very rare for a video game to do. A true punchline is not an easy thing to land in the real world, let alone a video game, but Cole Suppler lands at a staggering rate, which is not 100%, like you said, but the ones that do land are really funny. Its humor is couched in the world it has built, miraculously unburdened by meta in-jokes or memes used to pad the density of lesser comedic games.
Yeah.
Because, like, I hate games.
Wow.
I really
Clip
hate
it.
them.
Clip it.
Clip it, everyone.
Clip it. He said it. He admitted it.
I really do hate games that are like, we're funny, and then you go play them, and it's like, we're funny because we pointed at the world that you're in.
Yes.
And we're like, you like this, right? The writers are going, I think some people like this joke and like this humor.
Yes.
And the two people, Will Todd and James Garriott, that made this game. They had some other people, but they're really the two leads on it. I talked to them, and they were, one, very cool. They seemed great, which is awesome. And they wrote a thread when the game came out Thursday morning. That's today. And it's really charming. It's like they clearly like working together. They clearly have their own sense of humor. They grew up together. It's very much built by them. Feels like it was made for them, because it feels so kind of personal. There's nothing sentimental about it, but it feels very lovely in a lot of ways.
Yes.
It's a very funny game, and it's really good. I agree with Niki that it is not much of a game, in the sense of you have two things to do, and at most given points, only one of them matters. And none of the puzzles you're solving are particularly like cerebral.
No, it literally is walk around. The man will tell you, can you carbonate the beer?
Yes.
And then you get in the sink and you go down the pipe and then you come out of a grate. Like, half of the game is how the character is going to enter the screen.
Yeah. And
it gets and as a running joke, it becomes progressively more nonsensical.
Yep.
Which is unbelievably funny. And then you walk around and you just hit some barrels, and then you get in another tube, and then you get served out of the beer tap. And then he's like, great, thank you.
Thank you.
And then you leave.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Like, none of it is hard.
No.
Great. Like, I don't know. Like, I just think that it knows what it is and is not trying to be anything else.
Yep.
And I really think that a lot of games have problems with scope where they are trying to do too much. And this game is not does not suffer from that problem.
I played this game in one sitting, and I also may mention this in my review, but the instant I thought to myself, okay, I kind of get it. I'm going to finish it, but I kind of get it. I'm going to put this down for the night. The finale started and the game ended.
Yeah, huge.
And I was huge. I was like,
what a beautiful compliment.
You could not make a game that does that better, of just like, okay, like, it has shown you everything it's going to show you, and it knows it, and it's time to bow out. And it's really, really good. Matt Berry is one of the voices. And what I think is so amazing about their confidence, Will Todd and James Garriott, Cole Supper, their confidence is like, Matt Berry is not like the main character, or like they don't go back to him at every moment to make sure that they're not leaning on him. Matt Berry is a member of a very talented cast, which felt really good. And I think that was also deliberate. Like, when I talked to them, that was also something that they said, of just like, that was their publisher's idea to get Matt Berry involved, which was, something that they were like, cool, but this isn't the be all end all. We still have like amazing people and blah, 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 blah. And they were able to put Matt Berry in there without it feeling like a gimmick, which I thought was really amazing. So that's out today, August 1st. If you're listening to this later, it's already out. And it's really good. And it's on, I think, basically every platform. I played it for PC. It plays wonderfully on Steam Deck. So if you've got a plane trip coming up, that's a great
way to eat that flight.
Great way to eat that flight. You'll play the whole thing probably.
I'm playing on the Jimtendo Swunch.
The Jimtendo Swunch is good.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's great.
Looks good.
Also, the music is great. It looks great. Like, there's not a video game that looks like this.
No, there's not.
Great.
It looks legitimately looks like a high budget adult animated comedy on a major network without being derivative, which is
it looks great.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Blackjack asks, what games actually land good punchlines, have good joke construction, and not just something wacky happening? That last one, I think, is the thing that is where stuff falls apart. Because when you,
Yeah.
it's so nuts that I'm going to say this. I do think that another actually funny video game, and I was reflecting on this recently because I saw a poster for Borderlands on the street. Mm-hmm. But I do think Tales from the Borderlands is actually funny.
Yep.
But there is a lot of wacky stuff in that because it's Borderlands. It's not like a particularly grounded experience. I don't know. There are very few funny video games.
Very few funny video games.
Like
I think again, it's such a it is such a brutal, kind of annoying thing to say, but it's just like, yeah, like games don't make me laugh. Like they just typically don't make me laugh. And I'm trying to figure out I'm trying to figure out like what is a game that I think was legitimately funny. I think like some writing can be funny of a lot of different games. I think a lot of the stuff that Brendan Chung made, like 30 Flights of Loving, I think those games, Jazz Punk is a great example. Yes, there are good games. They're not big developers that typically make really funny games. I think some games have good writing that can be funny. I think Baldur's Gate 3 was funny at times, but it's just like you never think of stuff like that as like a particularly comedic game, right? So My Hero Zero says, I think the structure of games makes it harder to do a constructed comedy. I totally agree. A few people said Jazz Punk in chat, which I think is a good example. But thank goodness you're here. I was a little surprised actually at how well received it was.
It is not like again, it's not a broad base.
Yep.
Like the jokes are it's a narrow cast experience.
Yep.
So for it to have hit with so many people is nice. But I think that is a testament more to the idea that like sometimes stuff is funny.
Yep.
And like if you present it in a way that is unique and interesting, then it will resonate. I can't name a game like this.
Nope.
Like you are playing through a season of television, kind of a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
And like it's a good time. Like it just feels good.
Yeah, that's a good thing because that's a good comparison because I do think like it is 8 episodes or so of like a 22-minute animated sitcom. That's about what it is. And in those 22-minute bursts, you get 1 or 2 vignettes. Yeah. And those vignettes can range from like very straightforward to incredibly absurdist. And none of it feels super out of place, which is great. There's even a musical part at the very end, which you haven't gotten to.
Oh, so, exciting!
Yeah, so look forward to that.
I can't wait. I also love to, like you said this. I can't wait. I love to finish a video game.
Me too.
It's great. Rare for me these days.
Yep.
But the idea that like I get in, get out in 3 hours on this lad, pretty choice to me.
Pretty choice. I am also playing through a game called Steamworld Heist II.
How is it?
It is good. It is a game that we are not done reviewing. We will post a review officially for it. The embargo dropped this morning. It is a good game. If you like kind of tactical shooters, if you like your XComs and things like that, and if you really like the Steamworld kind of franchise, which has Steamworld Dig and other games within it, you'll find a lot to like here. The first one is really good. I only played a little bit of it, but I've played much more of 2. Played it at SGF, which had that was actually a very strange thing. SGF was like, yeah, welcome to early June. You can talk about this in July. And I'm like, why? Why? I don't understand that. Because what I played then was not different at all from what I played for review. But it's very good. I like it. Really straightforward mission design. Nice ways to kind of build out your classes. You could do some class mixing with, like different abilities given to different people in your class. Just really nice kind of resource management. Some of the levels get really sicko with like, specific mission objectives as well as, different enemy types. It's just really good. Like all the different classes feel good. The sniper is still really fun because you get to see where all the bullets are going to bounce.
Just like in real life.
Just like in real life.
Just like Chris Kyle.
Just like Chris Kyle, that's right. And we have Steamworld Heist 2 is we dedicate this game to Chris Kyle. That's not true. Don't go out and say that to anyone.
No, clip it. Two really good clips.
Two really good clips. Yeah. I will say, just like apropos of nothing really, this team is also really nice. They were just like super chill and nice when I was at SGF. They like to talk about the process of making this game, and they obviously very much love it. I mean, they've made so many games like within this franchise that they must love it. But in my brain, I'm always kind of like, y'all are probably tired of this, right? You're always probably tired of the steampunk shit, right?
Else. Yeah.
But they don't seem tired of it, which
That's
I think
huge.
is really great. So they must really love it.
I think it's nice
really
when you get to. They can make so many kinds of video games. I think that is like.
Yeah, they're very genre agnostic with this whole thing. Obviously the digs have this kind of, Metroidvania, aspect to it. And these are much more tactical shooters in the realm of XCOM, things like that. So yeah, that's
out today.
That's out
next week.
No, that is. Wait, is it out today? Let's look this up.
Steamworld Heist 2.
Let's look this up.
I
don't want to say. I think it is out on the 8th.
The 8th. Okay, so next week.
Yeah, so next week. So this will launch in about a week, and it's really good. I really enjoyed it. I'm still working through it, so I don't want to say one way or the other. This is another game that I've been playing a lot on Steam Deck. Plays beautifully on Steam Deck. This is one of those really good ones where it's like really feels really good to knock out a couple of levels and then go do something else. The story is not rich enough for that to be any sort of hindrance to kind of go at this thing piecemeal. So that's how I've been kind of hitting it, and it's been really nice. So that's out in a week, but I've been playing it. Look for a review probably before that 8th launch date. But yeah, I'm enjoying that one as I work through it. Hey, did you see that Madden features video?
No. Who's Madden?
So Jonathan Madden.
Okay.
Was a shoemaker.
Where did he go?
The shoemaker that I guess was in The Wolf of Wall Street. Unclear.
Oh, Bernie Madden?
Bernie Madden. That's right.
For money.
The king of comedy.
Yes.
Bernie Madden.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Life's getting weary. Times are getting tight. You know that guy.
Yeah, that guy. Exactly that guy. No, so John Madden, football, 25. Yes. This is the second one without him being alive, right? I think. Second or third.
John, this dude's been dead. Has to have been dead for a decade.
No,
there's no way John Madden has been dead for less than 8 years.
No. That's he died in 2021, so there have been now 3 games without him being so 20. Madden 23, 24, and now 25 will
Madden free.
We'll have him ghost. We'll have his ghost in it. Contractually obligated to put his ghost self in this game. They released a trailer recently. It basically goes into all the ways that now at the draft, Niki, this is very important. At the draft, you'll get to see the players meeting Roger Goodell. So how huge is that? That's right, folks. Roger Goodell and his scanned face will now be in Madden.
That's fucking huge, dude.
I think he was before, but they're acting like it's a feature.
They took him out.
Like it's a feature.
Here's the thing. Every time I play Madden, I say, wow, I wish I could just watch draft cutscenes over and over and over and over and over and over again. Because there's nowhere to watch the draft.
There's
nowhere for me to watch any draft-related content.
Famously, the draft is not ever televised. Yeah.
It's never televised. It's always short. And it never feels like an event. So
Correct.
I really think that it's huge that they're kind of adding that stuff into the most realistic sports simulation game on the planet. So that's great. Are they making it fun?
Unclear. Unclear. They did focus a whole lot on things that are happening in the menus and when you're not playing. When they did this. There are now 3 commentary teams.
That is interesting.
So the 3 commentary teams, let me make sure I got the names right. Madden commentary teams. Should pull this up. Kate Scott and Brock Heward is, I think, the C team. Okay. I think the B team, which is very funny. Can you imagine? Somehow getting removed from a game feels better than getting demoted in a game.
Never demote me. Just take me out.
Just take me out. Which is so funny. So Brandon Godden and Charles Davis are now the B team.
They were the A team.
They were the only team, and now they are the B team.
That's tough.
And now the A team is Mike Tirico and Greg Olson because it's Mike Tirico and Greg Olson.
Yes, that tracks.
So it's very, very funny. Like Mike Tirico and Greg Olson are both on A teams of their respective networks. They're not on the same network.
No.
Mike Tirico is on NBC and Greg Olson is on Fox.
But not anymore, right? Didn't Greg just lose his job to Thomas?
Greg. Oh, did he go to? He might have gone to NBC, huh?
Because Tom Brady coming. Is Tom Brady not coming to Fox? And they take Greg Olson's job?
Tom Brady is headed to Fox. He'll see you when you're sleeping. Fox NFL.
He'll kiss your mouth while you're awake.
Commentators 2024. Here, let's see. All right, yeah, so you're right. No, now Greg Olson got demoted. So
he's on the B team.
So he's on the B team now of That's NFL crazy. And Fox.
But he was great. Like
he was great.
He
great. Was good. Here's the 7th team of the Fox pairings has actually not been announced yet. The 6th team is Chris Myers, Mark Schlereth, and Jen Hale. The 5th team is Kevin Kugler, Daryl Johnston, who's been doing this for like 40 years.
Yeah.
And Laura Oakman. There's Kenny Albert, Jonathan Vilma, and Megan Olivey. There's Adam Amin, Mark Sanchez, and Christina Pink. Joe Davis, Sanchez. Greg Olson, and Pam Oliver. Okay. And then it's Kevin Burkhardt, Tom Brady, Aaron Andrews, and Tom Rinaldi. So they split up Burkhardt and Olson, which was a good pairing.
Good pairing. I also really like Joe Davis.
Yeah.
He's the local Dodgers guy and then also the baseball on Fox guy.
Yeah,
I think he's great.
Yeah.
He's not B team to me.
He's not B team. No. He's not B team.
He's A team talent.
But because Tom is there, and I guess they're like Kevin Burkhardt,
crazy.
They're like, okay, we're going to put those two together.
I was thinking also about this because I was like, do you think Mike Breen is cursed actually? Because they blew up the trio, right? Kept Breen, and then what happened? Now they've got nobody. Now it's just Mike again.
Yep.
So
Mike Breen by himself in the booth. Bang! Nothing happened, Mike. Nothing happened.
It's a tip off, Mike.
The fact that he's not done that once in his entire career, I'm just like, I'm gonna do a bang at a completely inappropriate time. Yeah,
it's a 5-second violation, Mike. Mike, it was a defensive.
A particularly good charge.
It's the second. It's
bang. It's really good.
Man.
But yeah,
yeah, it's tough. So the game's not better. They just improved the menus, is what it sounds like.
They've improved a lot of the menus. Apparently, it's one of the things that I thought was really funny that they put in this trailer was like, by the way, we've put a bunch of different records in the game. And I was like, what do you mean? And they were like, well, you could only pretty much break officially like 20 different records, and now you can break like 45. I'm like, all right, like
That's like 2K does the same thing with like GOAT points when you play My Player, where they're like they categorize all of the like the NBA's top 75.
Yes.
And then the more accomplishments that you get, you move up in the tiers of GOATness. And it always ends up in situations, but this is because the end of these games are not balanced. You end up in situations where you're averaging like 75 points a game.
Yes.
Getting like 25 boards and 30 assists.
Yeah, you're having these like Wilt Chamberlain games every single time.
Every single game.
Yep.
Because the game's broken, because it's not balanced. So it just seems like they're kind of leaning into that. So you'll get a quarterback with a 3,500-yard rushing season.
Yes.
And they'll be like, congrats, you did it. Congrats. You're the best rushing quarterback in the history of the league. And it's like, okay.
When you so this is something that only like really super sickos will know, but you know, my NBA 2K Switch franchise, which I just let run, which actually I haven't turned on in a while. I'm doing MLB The Show right now on my Switch.
Baseball
it's very realistic. Like Luka's going to average 35 points. He's going to average like close to 8 boards and 8 assists a game when you let it go. Which is really cool. Like, so it feels good. Like when players go off, it's like, wow, the game did it. Yes. Like, y'all got it. This the last generation stuff, many years after making it, you finally got it. Like it works. The shit that's on the fucking PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series, if I let a game go, Luka, I'm not kidding. Luka averages 53 points a game.
Yeah.
With like 11 assists and like 14 boards.
It's crazy.
Which is
it's so it's because
bad.
It
like the thing that's sick and weird is that the weirdos on Operation Sports forums within a week will be like, well, here's all the shit you need to do to make it work.
Yes.
And I'm like, well, do that inside your building.
Yes, do it inside the house.
Do it in your building.
They're called hire those people.
Those people.
Perhaps. Yeah, it's tough. Those games are in a weird spot. And it's because they can't not make them.
I know. They can't take a break.
They can't take a break. So I think you're so far disconnected from whatever reality is. Like, and also the ability to catch up on debt. Yeah. Like, you can't do it because you're running it forever.
You're running it forever, and you're just always kind of behind. So we also did get an NBA 2K gameplay reveal today.
Does it look like one of these?
It looks exactly like those, except there are apparently like 9,000 more animations.
Awesome. Great. More animations to get stuck in.
Animations to get stuck in. They say they're going to be more dynamic this time.
They say that every year.
Say that every year. It looks like Steph Curry's got a couple of weird like circus shots now that you can do.
Impossible to trigger, I'm sure. I like the 2K one really gets me because they really do say the same stuff every year. They're like, we redid it so you can't just spam dribble moves every year.
Yep.
Or dribble moves every drive. And then you go to play the game and then you find the 3 dribble moves and then you just spam those every time.
You spam
and then it works.
Every time
and it's like, well,
works.
what the fuck am I playing the game for?
Correct.
Yes.
So they released that, and it's, no real details, just stuff about the gameplay itself. Like, does it look good? Yes, but these always look good in these trailers, right?
Yeah.
Like, I will admit that Jason Tatum, the close-up of him doing a jump shot, like his hand, it looks really nice. Like, I think they are doing some interesting stuff with, like, the actual physics of the ball leaving the hands, and they're doing some new stuff with, like, physical dribbling and stuff like that. So there are some, like, physics engine stuff that seems interesting, but it also feels to me like a new, exciting way for the game to break in different ways.
Yeah, that's it.
Which, I think that's the conclusion I've gone to after playing College Football 25 for a few weeks, and then also dipping back into older football games to kind of just see how they feel. I think an increase in desired fidelity with the actual physics of the world has made these games much, much, much less realistic.
Yeah, because it's
actually
yes.
just cheesing it and making it not actually live in this physical space that the game is monitoring makes it like you can actually control those things in a way that actually makes it feel more realistic.
There is no you don't have the it is an impossible problem to solve.
Correct.
The lack of tactility between the act of playing basketball does not translate to using a controller.
Correct.
So you have to obfuscate it.
Yeah.
And any decision to get you closer to actually using basketball will make it feel worse.
Yeah. I mean,
so
I feel like we're like 3 years away from them being like, okay, now you've got to like in rhythm have to move the right stick down,
the right stick up and down
to dribble, and it's like that would be in a way that would be sick.
Yes,
but in another way it would be like no one's gonna play this. Like you're just gonna turn this off. So it's very strange what's happening to sim sports games right now.
Yeah.
We also got news that EA used a bunch of AI to build 11,000 player faces.
Did people think that they were going to just do that by hand?
I guess so. And I also want to take this opportunity to maybe have just the slightest bit of, dare I say, nuanced conversation about AI. We don't know that they used stolen things to build.
It does not
these
sound
things.
like they would have.
It does not sound like they would have or needed to.
Because why would they have needed to?
They would not have needed to because they would have the 11,000 photos of these players.
Human beings.
So this to me actually does sound like a shortcut that they took that they could have taken without stealing any of this information.
Yes.
Which is, in my opinion,
good.
An okay way to use this kind of technology.
The idea that they would have had to have character artists look at 11,000 people.
It's an ignorant thing to think.
Yes. That. Like, it's insane. You don't see the guys' faces.
No.
So, like, yes, of course, take the shortcut available to you to get you 90% of the way there.
Yeah. Now, this feels bad because the guy at the top of EA was like, I think we should use AI for everything.
Yes.
And it's like, yeah, that stinks. And I know what he means by that.
Yes.
But I don't think it's what this team did.
And I think that is one of the most critical problems with the phrase is that it means too many things.
Very many things. Yes.
Like, it means so many things that, like, calling this AI this isn't Chad.
No.
You know, like, this is not large language model.
No. This is not them going like, what does Arch Manning look like?
Exactly.
And
it's generating it. Like that,
is whatever the fuck is Mid-Journey, not Mid-Noffin. Mid-Noffin is a Sega Saturn emulator. It's cool.
But, yeah, like, that's not what this is, right? Like, are you going to call Speed Tree AI?
Right.
Like, that's no. Like, sure, yes. Is it a thing that procedurally is generating things based on inputs that you are giving the computer, and then it goes and does the thing that you ask it to do?
Yeah.
Yes. You're not going to get mad at a game developer for using Speed Tree.
Yeah.
Because you are aware of the fact and the knowledge that, like, maybe it doesn't make the most sense for world artists to be spending hundreds of hours designing trees
of faces.
Yes, but like stuff. Designing trees or of designing the faces of people that you do not see because they are wearing helmets. That's not a good use of time. So yes, of course, please use the tools available to you. What Andrew Wilson is talking about with regards to AI is, I'm sure he wants writers out.
Yes.
And he wants Chad to write the video games, and he wants voice actors out, and he wants, like, generative voice models to produce voice acting that reads the script that the AI also wrote. That's what he wants.
That's what he wants.
And that is not what this is.
Mm-hmm. No.
So
yeah, it's been funny to see that discourse, of course, like go off the rails like very quickly. And it's like, they paid all these kids $600 each only, and they only have so many people to make faces that you cannot see. Of course, they're going to take shortcuts here.
Yes, of course.
Like, I don't, like, unless they are actually stealing this information and doing the things that are the worst implementations of AI, which it doesn't seem like they would be. This has been a very, like, kind of frustrating. But it's like, I am glad that at least these things are coming up and we're able to tell the differences between them. I think the scary part is that at some point it is going to get harder to separate those things, and also the general public is going to continue to be bad at actually separating these things from good and bad.
Like, I think that's the thing. It's like, and that's an intentional brand and marketing decision on behalf of the powers that be with regards to what the framing of AI is.
Yeah.
It is going to be so big that you can't figure out what is and what is not.
Yep.
So the allowable, more stuff will be allowed because it is under such a big umbrella.
Yep.
So
now if we find out that we're wrong and they literally said, what does Arch Manning look like? And
different.
And that's different. But I don't think this is what happened here.
Yeah. It would be like organizational and management malpractice to request your artists to do this work by hand.
Agreed. Yeah, it would.
So you simply don't have them do that.
Well, we talked about Andrew Wilson being kind of a clown show.
God,
let's talk about these Bungie layoffs.
To the moon.
Let's talk about these Bungie layoffs. So Bungie laid off 220. I think 150 are joining Sony. So Bungie itself lost about 370 people this past
17%?
17% of the staff. Yeah, so it's big. They've lost 25% of the staff in the past, 18 months or something like that. So that feels bad. The final shape was very well reviewed. There were some player spikes. But this move, moving on from 17% of your staff and restructuring, 170 and removing 220, that was a move that was decided well before the final shape came out.
No, for sure.
Well before. So I'm not trying to say anything about that other than it's even grosser and grimmer than I think people are saying. It's like, oh, you can do this and it still doesn't matter. It's like, actually, the conversation to completely end those people's careers there happened well before the final shape was even shipped.
Yeah.
So you're right. It doesn't matter, but that decision was made far before. Like, it is more cruelty than stupidity. Like, it's not like they looked at the performance of this game and said, well, even though we did great, we're going to do this. It is no matter what happens at any point. At this stage, we're going to let all these people go. And the game has to be out by a certain time. We're not going to say why, but it has to be out at a certain time because at some point we're going to let these people go and then it'll be impossible to actually get it out.
Yes.
So that's bad. Since they were acquired by Sony, they have been slowly chipping away at the workforce and integrating more. And we've talked about this multiple times on the show. That it feels very clear to me that Sony's end game is to chunk parts of Bungie off and basically redistribute that team within its internal resources in order to more effectively do exactly what Sony wants, rather than Bungie being kind of an independent arm that can actually make its own decisions. Technically, it has 2 games in development right now, which is Destiny, which is wrapping up basically, and then Marathon. I don't even know what the status is of the sequel to Destiny. I have to imagine that's like
Grub said it's not in the cards.
Yeah, it doesn't. Feels impossible for that to happen.
Yeah, his reporting from this morning on Game Mess Mornings, which you can watch Monday Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday on giantbomb.com/chat. At 8 a.m. Pacific time. He said it's not happening anymore because they don't have the bodies.
Yeah.
And also, Sony simply is not invested. They don't give a shit. They don't care.
They don't care.
So they'll put Marathon out, and it'll be similarly scaled. Now this is my speculation.
Yeah.
They'll put Marathon out, and it will be similarly scaled to a Helldivers, maybe a little bigger.
Yep.
Probably. And then the Bungie will probably they did one of the fucking things that I hate, where they announced that a bunch of people were losing their jobs, and then they were like, and we're making a brand new video game.
Mm-hmm.
And that game is going to not come out for 3 or 4 years probably.
Mm-hmm.
And then will Bungie continue to exist? Probably not.
Probably not.
So it's fucking tough. I don't know. What's it? Pete Parsons is the CEO.
Pete Parsons is the CEO. Yes.
And we talked about this weeks ago, right?
Yep.
Where basically we were like, the only reason any of this makes sense is that the C-suite is waiting for their shit to cash out.
Yep. They're waiting for their stuff to vest.
From the Sony purchase, so they can get the fuck out of Dodge. It doesn't really matter. They already won. They sold the company.
Yep.
So whatever happens afterwards, it doesn't really make a difference. They've already got a guaranteed number of shares that they're about to cash out with.
It is an exit and everything but name. Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
And it's like, that fucking sucks. Like, deeply did not need to do that.
Yep.
Out of any other desire than greed and selfishness. Because this guy determined that he was done, and his C-suite friends determined that they were done, so they killed the company because that was the move that would have made them the most money.
Pete Parsons, when the sale went through, purchased quite a few vintage cars from a website called bringatrailer.com.
Great website.
His auction wins. He has 25 auction wins on this website, all from the past. Here, let's see. Oh man, I mean, it is like, Nikki, this is crazy. You can see 25 vintage car auction wins starting on September 23rd, 2022. 25. Mm-hmm. And these range from, mid five figures to 201,000, 201,000, 235,000, 140,000, 205,000.
He's just buying the cars that he wanted when he was a child.
When he was a kid.
Which
whatever. I cannot. I'm not judging someone for spending their money how they want to spend.
No,
that's not what I'm doing.
It is so naked.
It is so naked, which is what is tough.
It's naked and it's depraved, and you look at the numbers.
Yeah.
Of the amount of money that he is spending, that is money that came directly out of Bungie.
Yeah.
Like, it is not like this money came from anywhere else. He sold the company, got money for the company. Instead of the money going into the company to pay people, he got the money, and he is spending the money on cars that he will not drive.
Yes. Yep.
It's a display of excess of wealth that is punitive and shellfish. Selfish. And
shellfish.
It's just naked in its depravity. Is the reason why it sucks so bad.
I think one of the funniest things is that, Pete Parsons, his Steam and PlayStation handle is BNGP Parsons. Okay.
Yeah.
This is the exact same username he uses everywhere.
Yeah.
Even on websites where he buys vintage cars, where you can see how much he paid for them.
What a fool.
And leaves comments on a December 23rd purchase of a 1967 Jaguar XKE Series 4.2 Roadster 4-speed that says, "My wife deserves this. Ex-military, disaster relief responder, charitable beast, good to all no matter where they are from, how they identify, or the compassion they deserve. Service before self. I am in awe. I am hopelessly in love. Thanks all. See you soon. It's just
I'm
it's just
dying.
kind of gross, right?
Fucking disgusting. Also, his wife comment. They found his wife's account, and his wife was like, "My hot husband, he takes underprivileged youth out on car rides."
Mm-hmm.
The fuck are you talking?
What are you talking about?
What do you mean?
It's like that's like you're going to the pound and like taking dogs out for the day. Like
what
what
are
are you
you
talking
saying?
about? You can't say shit like that.
Anyway, do you want a 1962 Ford Thunderbird coupe?
Yeah, sure. How much?
$6,500 right now. This bid ends in 2
I mean,
hours.
I ain't buying a fucking house, so
yeah. I mean, listen, that's 10. What do you mean? What is this? 64. It's like 100 of these.
Yeah, great. It's just gross. It's just fucking
sucks.
gross.
There's no, there's, and it's just like he locked his Twitter account as soon as the news went public.
He did unlock it sometime between yesterday and today, but anyway,
too late. The damage is done.
Late.
You know, like if the optics are that he is chicken shit.
Yep.
Who is bad with his money, and seems to be single-handedly running this company into the ground. This like storied company into the ground.
Well, I mean, not in fairness, I would say, but I mean, like, I think this was the plan, right? I mean, to your point
for
about
sure,
for your point about the exit, I mean, like, yeah, this is a decision that he and those C-suite executives made when they signed this acquisition. They were saying, you know, we were independent, like to us sitting here watching Destiny kind of grow, and when they went independent, it felt so good, right? It felt felt real, breaking away from Activision, all that stuff.
Everyone's favorite indie developer, Bungie.
It was a funny thing to say, but there was something actually really cool about, like, okay, this is a AAA level, independent, right? And they can kind of do what they want. And the sale to Sony never really made sense unless you kind of put those dots together.
Yes.
And because there's no way to exit without exiting. Like, you can't get the big payoff without leaving. Yes. And it's like, and leaving could be immediate, where it's like Sony bought it and we're gutting everything. And boy, like, I hate to say this, but like, in a way it feels more honest for Sony to come in and go, we're gutting this thing. We don't care. And then the disaster happens or whatever. And instead of this kind of slow burn where it feels like everyone is crazy. I mean, when they got rid of all those comms people, that felt crazy. Like, it felt wrong because they were a well-respected comms team doing good work in a game that was still very active by a baseline perspective. Yeah. I know it had been down, but it's like that was still a vibrant community. Destiny. It's still Destiny. Yeah. So when that happened, that felt important, and it wasn't DEI bullshit and them responding to, you know, this woke comms group. It wasn't that. It was like, it was clearly a first move that made sense to get to this point. Yeah. Where we're starting the official exit of all these C-suite executives, and this is kind of how that happens. So, feels bad. Obviously, my best to all 220 who lost their jobs. My best is the folks that are still at Bungie and struggling to kind of keep probably focus after a layoff like this. This is really tough.
Impossible to.
No, it's impossible. It sucks. But that's where we are. Real quick, let's talk about Jon Blow before we take a little break.
I don't know who this is.
I was hoping you wouldn't know who it is. So Jonathan Blow.
This game looks like shit.
So Jonathan Blow
it's a Flash game.
Made a game called Braid. Came out in 2008. It was part of a wave of indie games that was
from Soulja Boy.
That was Soulja Boy's console. Yes. No. So. But that came out. It basically, I guess, kind of did a riff on Mario platforming, doing some time reversal stuff. It told like a a very quote unquote human story in reverse, and it was just kind of like blah, like whatever. It was okay at the time. I understand why it was well respected. It was never my favorite, but it was well received. It sold well enough for Jon Blow to basically make a game called The Witness, which to his credit, he priced at $40 when most indie games were getting priced at much, much lower amounts. And I thought that was actually really cool.
Oh, it's the same guy?
Same guy.
Who's the other guy?
What does that mean?
There's another guy that's like this.
Are you thinking of Phil Fish with Fez?
The Hat game? Yes.
Yes. Okay. So two notes. This is really important. Those two are connected primarily because of Indie Game the Movie.
Okay.
A game that focused on Phil Fish making Fez, Jon Blow making Braid, and Ed McMillan, I think that's his name, Ed McMillan making Super Meat Boy. Okay?
Okay.
Phil Fish and Jon Blow are actually very different.
Okay.
In terms of like their
vibe,
demeanor,
energy, beliefs.
Their beliefs, their energy. Yes. The information that the attention that Jon Blow and Phil Fish, I might be talking out my ass a little bit here, but the attention that they both got caused Phil Fish to essentially retreat.
Okay.
And say, I don't like fame. This feels stinky.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm out. And he did some stuff that was like pulling the plug on a lot of stuff that was probably going to be really good, but he was like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Okay.
Jon Blow took that attention and was like, what if everyone found out what kind of a fucking freak I am?
Yeah.
Like, what if everyone got to know my viewpoints in a way that was like,
we don't need that.
We don't need that. You know,
yeah.
what if like, So like Phil was like kind of harassed out, right? And Jon Blow was kind of like, yeah,
I'm gonna skis my way deeper.
Yeah, I'm a little weirdo. So that's kind of what happened. That's like the most basic way. Gamergate had something to do with it too, as well. You know, Gamergate had a lot to do with Phil Fish being like, I'm fucking done, because it felt like a really dire time to keep making games,
anything.
You know, So anyway, those two get lumped in a lot, and I just want to say they're really not the same.
Okay.
I've also met Phil, I'll say, and he was nothing but a sweetheart to me and all that stuff.
Okay.
Anyway, I'll just say that. But Jon Blow is kind of a goofy guy. He made The Witness. Some people like The Witness a lot, but he also thought it was the most important thing he would ever make, that anyone would ever make.
Yeah.
He started a studio. Since that studio has been built, he's worked on a new programming language that is not out yet. They're now saying that they can't afford to make the compiler. Okay. They're also saying, Jon Blow is saying that like he wants to make his magnum opus and release it in many different installments over the next like couple of decades, but he hasn't even released the first part yet. So he made the Braid remaster, which involved
to make money to pay for the.
I believe so. And then has been like, wow, I can't believe this didn't make enough money to do all this stuff.
Did it come out already?
Yes, it's out. It is out.
Listener, you can't see my face.
Yeah, Niki's just kind of like grabbing their face and kind of manipulating, like Mario 64.
Yeah, sucks, I guess. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, I just mostly think it's funny because he is since the Braid remaster came out, he has made several statements in streams and things that are just like, yeah, it sold horribly. And now, but the funniest part is, and now we're not sure how stable our studio is. We don't know if we could do anything. And my question is like, why was the Braid remaster kind of like the thing?
Your Hail Mary.
The difference between
yes.
We're gonna make it and we're not gonna make it.
Why also, not to be crazy, I'm all for making stuff. You don't gotta make your own programming language.
You don't got it. He wants to make a programming language that is good for making games, which I think is a noble endeavor, but, quite a few of those already kind of exist.
Yeah, they have those because
They
the
do
video
have
games
those.
that people are already making
Are
with the
written in
ones that we
programming
already have,
languages.
pretty good.
They're pretty good. Yeah. I mean,
My Hero Zero asks, does Nikki know about Jon Blow showing those piss jars? His piss jars? Was he pissing in jars when he was making the video game? And then he showed them to people?
yes.
You're nodding your head. We have to stop.
Yeah.
We have to stop.
Yeah.
We have to stop. That should be disqualifying.
Yeah.
For for any sort of further conversation, we have to move on.
And move on we will. We'll be right back. Hey, Nikki. Let's go. Are you ready? Let's get back to it. Wow. Wow.
John, nobody cares, John.
Wow.
Nobody cares. We just got another gold medal.
Oh, what did we win? What did we get a gold medal?
400 breaststroke, which I know is our favorite sport.
What did we get a gold medal in breaststroke?
400 breaststroke.
Breaststroke.
Yeah.
Breaststroke. Got it. I'm glad that we were able to do that. Hey, we've got Hive questions. Questions for money. Answer however you'd like. See, is it growing on you yet?
It's getting better. I do appreciate it more than I did last week, yes.
Okay, cool. You did not like it last week.
I did not like it last week, no. But this week?
Okay.
I like it.
We have actually a very great
good questions this week.
Mishmash. If you want to ask us a question, you can join the Hive by going to vgbs.com/join. And you can ask us questions that we will ask every single week here on the podcast. When we have a guest, it's, sometimes also fun to have a guest weigh in on the stuff. Did not have a guest this week. One of these questions would have been very funny to ask a guest that especially doesn't know anything about the certain thing that we were going to talk about. But that's fine. It'll still be a good answer. But let's get to it. This is from Live, Fix Your Heart or Die. Is Shane McMahon showing up on AEW anything other than a train wreck?
No. Next question.
So for those who don't know, Shane McMahon was pictured with Tony Khan at an airport in Arlington.
Why would you want this heat? He's so dumb.
Why would you want this?
It's going to be worth it if they get Christian Cage to do a single promo. That will be worth it.
Okay.
And then the last time we saw this man on television, he jumped and tore both of his ACLs or whatever. And then Snoop Dogg gave a people's elbow to The Miz.
Yes. Snoop Dogg's improvisation to get that back on track, incredible.
Great.
Incredible.
But you shouldn't be allowed to come back from that.
You shouldn't be allowed to come back.
Sometimes people should have to go away.
Sometimes they should be able to go away.
I still remember it, which means that it's too soon.
He
Sorry.
did a leapfrog and exploded his knee. And what was not supposed to be a long match, certainly, but it was supposed to last longer than 10 seconds, and then his knee exploded. I would show the folks at home this video, but the last time I put up a WWE video, it ate so much of the VOD that I'm not going to do that.
Do it again. That's fair.
But that is the rumor that Shane McMahon is going to be coming on to AEW TV as like a character. I don't think there's really, truly any upside to doing this.
No, not at all.
I don't think it's a good idea.
No.
I think it paints Tony Khan as a person who is singularly desperate to kind of look at what could be instead of what he already has, especially during a time where I do feel like most things are going pretty well for that program and that roster as we head to what is typically now their biggest pay-per-view of the year, which is All In London, which will be at the end of the month. SummerSlam, by the way, is this weekend. So if you also want to join the Hive, go to vgbs.com/join the Hive. You can join our Discord, and we'll be hanging out together while we watch SummerSlam. SummerSlam. All right, so let's leave wrestling for a second. It's time to turn the tables. What TV show, not movie, that's currently on the air are you turning into a video game, and what's that game like? That's from Dull Focus. Thank you so much.
Job Simulator, but it's chopped.
Job Simulator, but it's chopped.
Yeah.
Okay. So say more for those who have not played Job Simulator.
So Job Simulator is a VR game where you do job, quote unquote. But it's all like very like all of it. You're a robot simulating what it was like for people to do job. So it's like you go into a cubicle and there's a screen and a keyboard, but the keyboard only has 2 keys on it.
Correct.
You just tippy tap, tip tap, tip tap, tip tap,
tip tap.
Or I can't name anything. Oh, you work at grocery store and you scan thing. Scan, and that's the whole thing.
That's it.
That but chopped. So you are trapped in the chopped zone, and you keep opening baskets to put food together. That's the whole idea.
I like that.
Pretend I said House Hunters, which is our idea from last week.
Our idea from last week is House Hunters, and I think that's really good. It turns into a first-person shooter. I think it's like how I think it would actually work if you turn it into like it has to be the TV show is that, at the end of the period, at the end of the 21 minutes, when they're 30 seconds away from deciding what the house is, and then they're a minute away from showing you like how badly they decorated the house that they moved into. I think that they should take those 3 houses and put them on like a cul-de-sac virtually.
Yes.
And the partners buying the house have to 1v1.
Oh, yummy.
Through those, and the winner gets to pick the house.
Gets the house.
Yeah.
Oh, yummy.
Yeah.
This is a good video game idea.
It's a good video game idea. I also just watched all of Presumed Innocent, which is based on a movie, which is based on a book, with Jake Gyllenhaal playing opposite Peter Sarsgaard, his brother-in-law, and they both hate each other in the show, which is really fun to me.
Do they like each other in real life?
I think they must.
Oh, okay.
I feel like they must.
Yeah.
Because like I think Peter Sarsgaard and Maggie Gyllenhaal have like kids together and stuff. Like I think they probably like each other.
Yeah.
And like I don't really know if Jake and Maggie Gyllenhaal are like buds. I don't know, but I have to imagine that they probably are
related.
Related, yep. But like I just watched all of that, and that's a really good kind of like slow burn legal procedure game, which I think would be like an interesting like. What if we made the Ace Attorney like really grimy and like about Chicago politics, like
Chi-Town?
Yeah, and it's a Richard E. Kelly joint. So if you like Chicago lawyer stuff, like that's a good one. But yeah, I think reality shows are kind of where it's at. Like Love Island, but it's some sort of like murder simulator is not like I think someone is literally making that game.
Yes.
I saw a trailer that kind of reminded me of that. So that's like a kind of a funny one. But I love the House Hunters idea. I like the Job Simulator chopped idea. Yeah, these are good. Good ideas. Thanks for the question. What's your favorite Peter Molyneux lie? Do you remember Peter Molyneux, the guy that did? Yeah.
The cube one was great because, and like
That
I
is
think the
that
cube
is
is
my
easy.
that is my answer though.
But the
go
cube
ahead.
is great because it's audacious.
Yes.
It's a crazy lie.
Yep.
I invented this video game where you hit cube and get to middle of cube, and then I give you the ability to run the next video game I make. Is
Delicious.
just such a big. It's delicious. It's such
so
a big brain
tasty.
lie. It doesn't make any sense. It's great. I remember tapping that stupid cube. Tapped that cube a lot. What about you?
That's it. That's definitely it.
Yeah,
I mean, I
cube.
love like, I watched him give a talk at South by Southwest. I want to say in when did Fable 3 come out? Fable 3 2010. So
Yeah,
I probably
2010.
saw him in 2009, which tracks. I saw him in like 2009, and he gave a speech indicating that like Fable 3 would be completely kind of world changing in terms of its mechanical complexity.
And it was.
And it was. And people are still playing it today.
There's never been a game like Fable 3. They haven't made a Fable since.
You know what? You got me there. Milo is also really good. The boy that was supposed to just change everything. The virtual boy, like
Yes.
that was great.
Connect boy.
Yeah, like that shit is good. I think Curiosity, What's Inside the Cube, which is the full name of that game, which is just very funny to say.
It's really funny.
That one was the best because, yeah. The goal for those who don't know, the goal, yes, was to become, like, you would become basically a studio head of the game Goddess.
Yes.
Or Godus. I actually never
Godus.
know how
No one's
you
quite
say
sure.
it. But it was kind of rendered obsolete because of the abject failure of that game.
Yeah.
So nothing was really life-changing about
You
it.
got
It was very,
nothing
very
out of
funny.
it.
You basically got nothing out of it, which was hilarious. We don't have enough of this guy.
I was literally
gaming.
just going to say, there's not enough scams, and
There's
aren't
not enough like fun scams.
Yes, fun scams.
There
for sure.
there are a lot of scams.
Yes.
But like
nothing
these
that
are
is
fun
very
scams.
obviously a scam.
Yeah.
Right. And there are no people who are like this.
Yeah.
Like Tommy Tallarico is the last of a dying breed. Right.
Tommy Tallarico and Peter Molyneux, like
Best friends.
Out,
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But like, yeah, we don't have guys like this anymore. They just don't make them like this.
Yep.
Anymore.
Godus never
like they
left
used
early
to.
access, and it was basically rendered completely inaccessible. You can't buy it as of December 14th, 2023, which is incredible.
Great.
The God of Gods role was never actually implemented, which is the God of Gods role is what you got for getting to the center of the cube.
Getting to the center of the cube.
So, which, like, the God of Gods role sounds like the DM role in Helldivers.
Yes.
Which is actually sweet. Like, that would have been a really cool thing.
That would have been cool.
Too bad the game didn't work.
Oops.
So
Rough.
Super rough.
Someone will give him some money in like 5 years, probably.
Great question. Speaking of, I would say a similar type of person, although certainly I wouldn't say like a grifter class like Peter Molyneux. What's Richard Garriott up to? Asks Sleeve McDykel. So Sleeve is asking about Lord British, aka Richard Garriott, the creator of Ultima, an old school legend in the games industry. He is a private citizen astronaut. He owned a castle in Austin, Texas, which I've been to I've partied at before. Richard Garriott, as of 2022, I believe, is not an active piece of game. I don't think you can really. I don't think any of his shit is active. I don't think.
The last thing he posted on his Twitter account.
Well, by the way, he basically does liberal retweets on his Twitter account, which is very fun.
He has a thing called the Explorers Club.
Yep.
That he is the president of, and the last thing that they tweeted. Well, I'm not logged in on this machine, so the last thing that I can see is from June 22nd, 2023, and they're saying how sad they are about this submarine that went to go look at the Titanic and then imploded.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm sure he's fine.
He's fine.
Honestly, I'm sure he's okay.
He's fine. He's okay.
He's got enough money. I think he's okay.
He's got enough money. He did sell that castle in Austin. That castle was weird.
You know what, John?
You know what? That tracks.
That tracks.
Yeah.
That a castle in Austin, Texas had weird vibes.
Weird vibes, yeah.
Owned by a weird guy.
It's kind of built on the side of a mountain there in Austin.
Weird.
And yeah. But, I went to a party there once. It was kind of fun.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it was fine. That's what he's been up to. Why hasn't there been a new Sim Ant? Now, Nikki, can you tell me what Sim Ant is?
Yeah, I know what Sim Ant is. Sim Ant is like it's Sim City, but it's ants.
Yeah,
it's just Sim City, but it's ants.
It's a Will Wright game.
Yeah, you make an ant farm.
And you make an ant farm. Why has there been a new one? Do you think?
Because ants fucking suck. Why are we gonna glorify one of God's worst creations?
Wow.
Bugs don't need games.
Actually, the longer I've thought about this question, the more I am kind of like, why hasn't there been a new Sim Ant?
A new Sim Ant? Because
it
sucks.
It doesn't suck. But having little ants.
No.
Seeming like little bugs.
Why just fucking make another Sim City? That's good instead.
Okay.
Just go play Sim Ant.
All right.
It's not gone.
It's not gone, but it's rough.
What simulation features are you looking for in a brand new Sim Ant in 2024?
I mean, I think simulations have gotten pretty interesting, right? I mean,
but ants haven't is the thing. So like,
yeah, Will Wright probably kind of nailed the gist of
I think he got it in one. Like, I don't think there's been development on ant tech or like a necessity for development on ant tech.
Okay, don't focus on saying hit stick. We gotta bring the hit stick to Sim Ant.
That's really funny.
Yeah. Hit stick to Sim Ant would be pretty good.
Is there a thing in Sim Ant where you can pick up the whole thing and toss it onto the ground, shattering it into a million pieces?
No, they're not gonna let you do that. No. I only played Sim Ant like twice in school. I never really played a lot of it. But Computer Gaming World said that players seeking a non-linear, unconventional, and provocative strategy simulation will hit pay dirt with Sim Ant.
Great.
Students will love it.
Students will love it because it'll be one of 3 games that they are forced to play.
It's either this or Mavis Beacon teaches typing.
Yeah. Do you want apples or oranges? They're the only fruits on the planet.
In Sim Ant, the player plays the role of an ant in a colony of black ants in a backyard of a suburban home. The ant colony must battle against enemy red ants. The ultimate goal is to spread throughout the garden into the house, and finally to drive out the red ants and human owners. Okay? In this respect, Sim Ant differed from other sim games that were open-ended and had no victory conditions.
So you couldn't win it?
No, you could win it. That's different than like SimCity. Is that like SimCity had more open-ended design?
I see. Sorry, I misunderstood.
Sim Ant, it's like you got to get the people out, and the red ants have got to die.
You can finish the game.
Just
play Spore. I don't know.
Spore, yeah, just such a well-designed game like Spore.
Just go play Spore.
I think Spore probably kind of feels like his attempt to make something in the vein of Sim Ant. I mean, that was basically Will Wright's.
He didn't do it right.
He didn't do it well.
No.
He didn't do it well. That game is weird.
That game is weird. But I think this kind of goes back to the thing that we were just talking about. There are not enough weird ones. Anymore. Every video game is too safe. They spent so much money on Spore, and it was so weird.
It was so weird.
It was so weird.
They treated Spore. I don't know if people remember this because it came out in 2008, but they treated Spore like it was going to be fucking huge.
Yes, it was
like
new Madden.
Really,
not new Madden. It was
really
new
huge.
Sims.
Yeah.
Like it was. Yes.
They treated it like it was going to be huge.
And really it was. I spent $50, and by I mean my mom spent $50 on this limited edition version of that game. Came in a hard white case, and I had a book in it, and it didn't run on my computer.
It didn't run. There was a movie. Did you remember this? There was supposed to be a Spore movie. Blue Sky Studios was going to make it. It was a CGI movie, and then Disney bought Fox, and then they closed down. So.
It's almost. I mean, it's a couple years away. I think you could bring it back.
At any point, a Spore movie is a couple years away. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
You're totally right.
Just the way it's almost always Shark Week.
Almost always Shark Week. Right. All right. So there have been a lot of kind of new remakes, remasters, sequels of a bunch of kind of weirder, older games. Are there any kind of C-list little guys? Like shitty mascots, little creatures from games. You're still holding out for a remaster or a sequel. This is again from Liv, Fix Your Heart or Die. Thank you so much for the question.
Like a remade, like you heard of Link from The Legend of Zelda?
I've heard of him.
So I think like a remade or like a version of like, I don't think a lot have played this one, Wind Waker, that I could play on like the Switch would be really nice.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah.
So if they could make like remaster that one.
So I'm just rereading the question. Link is a C tier or below little guy. Is that your? I'm gonna put my lawyer hat on for a second. Is that your statement, Nikki Grayson? Is that Link is a C tier or below little guy, along the lines of like Bubsy?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'm glad that we have that on the record. Okay. Toon Link is now C tier.
No, I think they should remake Amazing Island. Do you remember Amazing Island?
I don't remember Amazing
Nintendo
Island.
GameCube is a Sega game where you made animals fuck to make weird versions of the animals.
So it's Spore?
It's not like Spore.
Wow, there is a screen that looks an awful lot like Spore. When you Google this game,
not Spore.
This game feels a lot like Spore. Amazing Island. What would you do in this game? What are you doing?
You were this kid, and you were trying to get the animals to fuck, and it was mostly it was kind of like a mini game collection Pokemon thing. Where's Billy Hatcher?
Billy Hatcher. Yeah. Billy Hatcher. That's a good one. I feel like Billy Hatcher is a good one. Oh, so this was like a kind of a button masher.
Yeah, like
this
mini game.
All right, so you
Pokemon
basically like
thing.
Mini game Pokemon Pilot Wings is kind of what this feels like.
Well, but sometimes it's Mario Party mini games.
Okay, it's Mario
because
Party
sometimes it's like you throw an orb across the screen, and it's not always Pilot Wings.
I'm seeing one where, some guy is throwing bombs at a half pipe.
Sometimes it's like Choo Choo Rocket. Sometimes it's like.
I'm definitely seeing the Mario Party like games now.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
It's a bunch. There's a bunch of different games in here.
Mario Party, cool. Pokemon. Yeah. Okay, that's
kind
a
of
good
maybe a new Mega Man game.
Okay, so again, Mega Man, another C tier or below.
Have they put that guy out in a video game?
They made
recently?
Mega Man. What? Mega Man 11. Mega Man 11. That one was like kind of.
Did people like that?
No.
Okay, so yeah,
not really.
C-tier.
I really love Mega Man 11. I would say to me, I would say Kickle Cubicle. That's mine.
What did you say to me?
Kickle Cubicle, yeah.
It's not Kickle Cubicle.
Yeah, Kickle Cubicle. That's how you say it. Kickle. Kickle. Cubicle.
This is fake.
No, it's not.
Is Chibi Robo C tier?
No, because it's Nintendo.
But
like, if Nintendo
he only had 2 games.
I don't think if Nintendo themselves make it, it's C tier.
So you're saying Electroplankton is higher than C tier?
No.
Do you see what I'm saying?
I do see what you're saying. You're right. You're right.
It's
right.
hard.
You're right. I mean,
It's hard.
Ice Climbers is C tier.
It's C tier. I would put it below.
I would put it below C tier.
Ice Climbers is not good.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right.
So,
but for me, it would be Kickle Cubicle. He's a weird little guy making a
he is a weird little guy.
Making a new puzzler. You could even just like remaster it and have like, kind of cute graphics and whatever. But it's like I could also see that being a really fun 3D puzzler if you wanted to.
Yeah, it could be anything as long as it was called Kickle Cubicle.
Yeah, that's true.
I think it would probably hit.
But I would like to have that little scrunky guy back because he
sure.
kind of looks like Malo from Super Mario RPG. Yeah.
Yes. Super Mario RPG.
All right, so we have one final question. It's a big one. It is a mishmash. Very clearly, I want to say this is kind of a mishmash.
Okay.
Of many different questions, as well as one with a more pointed answer. I'm going to start with the one with more pointed answer, which I didn't. Here, I'm going to write it down because I kind of lumped it into this, but I'm going to say rank GTA games by how poorly they aged. Okay, and this is
all of them tied for worst. What?
No, listen. Let's really do this.
Okay.
It's from My Hero Zero, asking rank the GTA games by how poorly they've aged. It is not an easy question.
No.
Because your instinct is to say all of them and move on.
Yeah, GTA.
And you wouldn't be wrong in a lot of ways. But I want to think about the answer.
What are we saying aged poorly means?
Anything. I think any combination. Like, it could be gameplay, it could be vibes, it could be written content, it could be the environment within which it's like, does it actually transcend its moment in time?
I think 4 has aged the worst.
4 with Nico Bellic has aged the worst.
I think 4 is awful to play.
Okay.
I can't stand the people in it. Okay. And I can't stand the people in any of them, but I really can't stand the people in it.
Okay.
And the driving in it is some of the worst driving ever put in a video game. And considering driving is half of the video game, categorical failure.
Okay. So that's aged the worst for you.
To me, yes.
Okay.
I would prefer the arcadey nature of 3 Vice City or San Andreas over 4 in any circumstance.
Okay. So you and I are in agreement for sure that the older ones on the PlayStation 2 have aged better than the new ones.
Yes.
I agree with you. And I certainly agree. I think 5 has aged worse than 4. Not from a gameplay perspective, but from a writing and content perspective.
Yes.
I think 4 has definitely aged worse in a gameplay perspective, but not as bad from a content perspective. And I think it is just barely aged worse than 5.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. I asked you about GTA. I know.
Really fucking puts me to sleep.
Yeah.
My argument against GTA 5 being the worst aged one is that half of the game, and maybe actually 3/4 of the game, depending on how you want to do your math, still is there's nothing like it. Like GTA Online, there's not another video game like that one.
Correct.
And I think that gives it credit enough that I would be willing to say that it has aged better than, because it is still fundamentally the same video game that it was when it released 11 years ago. GTA Online. The systems and stuff are the same, which means that they are strong enough to have been played by millions and millions of people for 10 years.
Correct.
Nobody talks about GTA 5. The most fun that you can have in GTA 5 right now is you make this cars all go really fast.
Mm-hmm.
And like nobody's talking about the game otherwise.
Correct.
So that's my argument.
Okay. All right. So I feel like I to try to rank them in terms of like what is aged the best to worst.
Yeah.
I would say like, GTA's 1 and 2.
They don't count.
I'm not even counting them because they're
No.
basically they're borderline contentless.
Yes.
And they're more arcadey than anything. So I'm
Yes.
gonna kind of remove those from conversation. So we're starting with 3. I would say from you could still play it now and get something out of it to this is borderline unplayable.
Yeah.
I would say San Andreas.
Yes.
Vice City.
Vice City. Yes. 3.
3.
Yes.
And now I'm thinking about it, and I think you're actually right. I think 5 is
it's
age not as bad as 4.
Yes.
And 4 is
5
very
and then
tough.
4.
4,
yes.
The only reason I feel fondness about 4 is because, I can't remember his name. The guy that does the playthroughs where he turns all the speed up of all the cars.
Yeah, where the cars are fast. Yes.
Very
his
fucking
name is
funny.
Tom.
Tom, what's his last
Something.
name? Tom, someone in chat will know.
Walker.
Tom Walker, that's him.
Is it?
Yeah, that's it. He's keeping that alive.
Yes.
And it makes it feel like it hasn't aged poorly because he's so funny and those streams are so funny. But no, I think you're right. You've talked me into it.
Thank you. It's tough. None of them are fun. No, another one.
Speak with clarity, intent, and sincerity regarding what you think GTA's impact will be. GTA 6's impact will be.
It's going to make $1 billion.
The reason I think this question was asked is because it feels like that game has already aged out of relevance based on the past 6 months. Like this Florida man bullshit was already old, and now the political moment feels old.
But the thing is, right, is that that's the problem with Grand Theft Auto generally, is that
it doesn't have to be. If it makes games like the 2 Yorkshire dudes that made Thank Goodness You're Here,
for sure.
If they actually took the time to develop a world that didn't have to mimic ours exactly at the moment of time, they could do shit. But they don't do that.
They don't. It is ripped from the headlines and then ha ha ha, how funny is America? How funny are black people? Is the whole game. So then there's it's impossible because they're not well written. They aren't fun.
Correct.
There's no joy in the world.
There's no joy in the world.
Literally at all.
Right.
So it is it's a critical, it starts sick. Mm-hmm. It starts as a failure. Mm-hmm. So yes, whatever outrageous bullshit that they are going to have in GTA 6, which is apparently coming out next year, okay, doesn't it's not going to hit. You're not going to beat current alive.
Merlin saying the very obvious funny thing, which is when you said it in the past.
Yeah,
you
because the constraints
remove yourself from this.
Yes.
Where it's that's why Vice City and San Andreas feel like they age better in a lot of ways because they already had the construction of that game in a moment where they could look back in the past and say, we have perspective on this now that we didn't have at the time and can write about it in a way that feels better than trying to chase what is happening right now. Where when you play GTA 5 now, a game that they have tried to keep alive, and successfully, I might add.
Yes.
Successful. Whatever, credit where it's due. We're talking about the most successful video game ever. Mm-hmm. But it feels fucking ancient in a way that most of this stuff doesn't. Yes. Because of those vibes and how it's written.
Yeah.
They also fully sanitize the 80s and 90s as well. My Hero Zero, you're right about that. It chasing that stuff feels so goofy to me because by the time it gets to us, and you saying rip from the headlines is so fucking good because it does remind me of Law and Order in the sense that you will have an episode of Law and Order that comes out that tries to tackle something that is quote ripped from the headlines, but it has been done and dusted in the period of time between when Dick Wolf was like, make an episode about Gamergate. My daughter was talking about that. And when it comes out, you have whiffed on it so fucking bad that it becomes parodic in a way that is not fun.
Yeah.
It is like not interesting or good. It just feels terrible. And Grand Theft Auto is somehow even worse because they're like, all right, let's take a snapshot of what life is like in 2018. Donald Trump is president. Wow. How wild is this? Let's start making Grand Theft Auto 6.
Yes.
Cool. And now we're looking at a game that's going to come out in a place where, I mean, I'm telling you, not to get too much into the political moment, but the shift of vibes between legitimizing the bullshit that we're seeing the entirety of GTA 6 being built around, being dismantled politically, like loudly, by people who are like, this shit is just weird and we're done with it. Like, I'm not saying it's over, but I am saying, like, by the time the GTA 6 comes out, this is going to feel fucking goofy.
And they also are not people who fundamentally understand it to begin with.
Yeah, agreed.
That was my biggest problem with GTA 5, was not even that the thing was boring, which it was.
Yep.
But it was so deeply Los Angeles and a story about Los Angeles.
Yes.
As told through the lens of a person who has only driven through Los Angeles
for research.
Like
when they did that research shit on how that city was laid out.
Yes,
that's all they know of that city.
That's it. Yep. And those folks did a great job.
Yep.
I think one of the most authentic representations of a city in a video game.
Crazy. I started playing that game when I moved to Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And I was like,
feels correct.
That's crazy.
Yes.
Like, I was blown away by that.
But then you have to listen to anybody in the video game talk.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, no.
Yep. Oh, Merlin said something really funny. That Gamergate Law & Order episode was only 6 months after Gamergate started. No, actually, I think it was much later. I think you're right. I think it was like several years later. But the idea of like any of those ripped from the headlines things, they're not making those fast enough for that to, as fast as things move, that like it feels goofy when those come out, but they change enough from it that it feels kind of its own self-contained thing. But GTA doesn't have that. Okay, if Wikipedia says this is from February 2015, so they did actually try to get on it really fast.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's just hard. I just don't think that there's like the impact of this one. It's going to sell like crazy, and no one is going to talk about it.
Yeah. It's going to like
the same way that GTA 5 was. Like nobody talks about Grand Theft Auto 5. A lot of people talked about it for a long time, but
the conversations that have kept going about GTA 5 have had everything to do with the really astonishing role-playing community that is grown there. And like there's some really cool stuff with that role-playing, and there's some really weird
most of it's
stuff.
Vile though.
It's really bad.
Yeah.
Like when you pay attention to it closely, a lot of it is law enforcement fantasy stuff.
As enabled by the language and systems that exist within the video game, right? Because like that is its lens to process this.
It is the petri dish in which that could grow.
Yes.
Like they're like, wow, we're gonna like squirt a bunch of these little juices in this petri dish, which is gonna grow. It's like the law enforcement fantasies that feel bad. Those grew really fast.
Yes.
So you're exactly right. Like they built the sandbox, and the thing that could grow in that sandbox was law enforcement fantasy stuff that feels bad.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very strange what GTA's legacy is. At one point, it was a series that I looked forward to. Now it is one of those things that I feel like is a bummer to really look at. I did also enjoy this conversation. Nikki, I appreciate you having it with me.
Yeah.
And I appreciate my Hero Zero and others asking about it because, it's the biggest thing. I like to talk about the biggest thing sometimes. Sometimes the biggest thing is not interesting, but it's like sometimes we don't engage with the biggest thing because we feel like it's icky, but we might as well talk about it in a way that we can. So, yeah. So that's GTA. We have no other Hive questions. We have no other parts of the show. I should probably get back to like figuring out what to do about this house that I'm probably not going to
Yeah, that sounds like a great plan.
So if you, first of all, thank you, chat. If you watch this live, we do this live every single week over on twitch.tv/VGBs. Every Tuesday morning, I also stream, called, I do a stream called Wake Up Honey, It's Tuesday. That is every Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. Central Time at twitch.tv/VGBs. That is a lot of fun. Guess what, folks? I started playing Kingdom Hearts this week on that stream, and we're going to keep that going. So, yep. It's Kingdom Hearts time.
Hey, sorry, I read a Slack and then I heard the words Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, I started playing that on Tuesday, and so we're going to keep playing that. Not necessarily only on Tuesdays, but...
I'm never coming on that show again.
Well, we'll probably do some other stuff, and then we'll kind of tiptoe into... You can leave when we start to do that, so...
You start with the first one or 3?
First one.
Because you're going to do all of them.
I'm going to do all of them, yeah. Yep. So we're on to that. And that's what we're doing. So twitch.tv/VGBs.
We?
Yeah, me and the community and you. Look at your contract again.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
It says it right here. I have to get blood surgery to become Sora. That's crazy.
Look down at your feet.
Oh! They're so big.
They're so huge. Ronald McDonald feet. You can go to vgbs.com/join to join the Hive right now. You get bonus podcasts. There's a couple going up this week, I promise. Talking about Kunitsugami, as well as Thank Goodness You're Here. And you can also get some stuff early and join the cool, fancy channels in the Discord and all that stuff. And also ask us questions that we will answer on this show. Nikki, you have anything to plug this week?
No, I think I'm on UPF tomorrow.
Unprofessional Fridays over there on Giant Bomb. So if you're listening to this before Friday afternoon, go check that out. Giant Bomb on Professional Fridays is a lot of fun.
I think that's it.
Cool.
Yeah, watch the Olympics.
Yeah, that's on for another
not
10 days.
Yeah,
NBC needs that walking around money.
Yeah, I know. Not to plug the biggest sporting event in the world, but I really did feel like coming into this Olympics that this one was going to have the juice. 2020, the Tokyo Games were whack, obviously, because of the pandemic. It got pushed a year. Nobody was there. This Olympics has deeply had the juice. There's a lot of fun stories. There's a lot of rough stories, and I think as an institution, the Olympics are important because it brings conversations to sports, which we otherwise might not care about. And I think that is legitimately important. Has been completely an entire fuck the Olympics so deeply.
Sure.
Has me amped out of my fucking asshole for 2028. I cannot fucking wait for 2028. To sit somewhere in Carson probably all day to watch tennis and then go watch water polo later
early
in
that
the
year
day.
too. It starts in mid-July.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm so excited about it. If
Should I come into? We'll come into
melted,
town. We'll be in town.
Please,
for that.
so
we'll do
deeply. That's the thing that I am worried about though, is that it's gonna be crazy to get in here.
Oh.
It's gonna be crazy.
We'll have to come on my birthday on July 1st and just be like, well, we'll get out of here in August.
Yes.
It'll be
gonna be
crazy.
Nuts.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited. If you have Peacock, I do think that watching it on NBC, you're doing yourself a disservice.
Correct.
If you're just watching it on NBC, if you have Peacock, it's $8. Just like Pop Gold Zone on.
Gold Zone is essentially a riff on Red Zone, which is an NFL product. The NFL product is designed to essentially give you like the best moments from every game. What they do is they just have sickos watching every single game, and they basically go, all right, something interesting is happening here. And crucially, I will say, there are no commercials on NFL Red Zone.
No, but there
on
are
Gold
weird,
Zone, there are poorly timed
yes.
commercial breaks in Gold Zone that feel very much like a deal that they made with advertisers to be like, we're going to take ad breaks at very specific, consistent intervals, and it doesn't matter what's happening
on the screen.
Which is a little annoying, but Nikki is right. That is the best way to be watching the Olympics.
Because you get a little of everything.
Yeah.
And it is as a vessel of exposure, which I think is really what the Olympics are about. You get to watch these storylines kind of unfold. You get in and you get out. It feels really good.
Yep.
The French man just won a medal in swimming.
I've
been watching the Olympics this whole time.
And then someone named Simone Biles did also some cool stuff.
Yes, double gold today.
Yeah, she did.
The U.S. Rugby women's sevens team won the first U.S. rugby medal in 100 years.
Mm-hmm. Rugby sevens was my favorite sport.
Kick six equivalent. Mm-hmm. America's gonna win the rugby game.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
It was freaking great.
It was awesome.
Where were you? Sorry, one more question. Where were you during the Auburn Alabama kick six?
I don't know if I watched that live. I think I saw it that night on like a replay
Sports Center or whatever.
Yeah, I don't think I watched it live. Yeah,
that's one of. I have two college football memories. Yeah. One is Vince Young running the ball in against USC,
which crucially I was. My experience. This is my experience of the Vince Young, the best individual football game anyone has ever played.
Yes,
for my money,
for sure.
Vince Young in the national championship game. I was in Sevilla, Spain.
Okay.
It was 3 a.m,
mm-hmm.
and it was 2006.
Yeah.
I had there are no smartphones.
Yeah.
I was getting $5 texts from someone who was watching the game in a room that was 60 degrees, trying to shiver my way to sleep while looking at a Nokia phone, looking at updates for text messages. And like one of the text messages is basically just like, I can't keep doing this. This game is incredible.
Yeah. Sorry.
You'll see. You'll find out what happens tomorrow. And I'm just like
shivering to death.
Yeah.
So that's one memory, college football memory, and then the other one is the Iron Bowl kick six.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Which was great. Auburn's gonna win the football game.
Auburn's gonna win the football game. All right, folks. If you are watching this, we're gonna shoot you right over now to Giant Bomb. If you're listening to this on podcast, thanks for joining us, and we will see you next week.
We're dumping.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Bye, folks.
Bye.
Bye. There we go.
Oh.